Good Monday morning. I'm making cookies today. A friend made these a few years back for us, about a year and a half ago, and I lie not. I seriously, this is probably my 75th, 80th, 90th batch, because as soon as we eat one batch, I make another batch. So we give them to all our friends. Everybody loves them. Shockingly, they're gluten-free and dairy-free. I'm not gluten-free or dairy-free. I praise Jesus for this. I have no desire to be, but these are so good. They're also called 5-ingredient cookies, which I think is interesting because there are 6 ingredients, not 5. But because I'm a cook and not a baker, I didn't realize that often in ingredient listings, if they're numbered, they don't number salt. So this is cashew butter. It is eggs, which I've already put in. I'll put the recipe on too so you can have it, because you're all gonna ask me for it, and this way I won't have to direct message you. Eggs, vanilla, chocolate chips, and coconut sugar. So everything else has an actual measurement except the chocolate chips. I just add as many as I want. But what I found interesting is that they don't list salt as an ingredient, because I don't know if you've ever watched MasterChef and Gordon Ramsay. We love that show. If Gordon Ramsay ever tastes something that doesn't have salt in it, well, if you've ever seen Gordon Ramsay, you can only imagine the kind of reaction that he has. It's pretty extreme. You know who else has a really extreme reaction to things that don't have the salt they should have? Jesus. You know, in the Sermon on the Mount in the beginning, some people call the Sermon on the Mount Jesus' Magna Carta. My sweet friend and mentor, Pastor Dale Everest, he calls it the blueprint for intimacy with the King, which I just love. So inside of that, Jesus tells those that are listening to him that day, he says, you are the salt of the earth. And he says, what will happen if salt loses its flavor? And then he says a very exceptional and sobering statement. He said, it is worth nothing. If salt doesn't do its job, say this salt never was salty again, I'd throw it out, it'd have no value. And Jesus was saying, in the life of a believer, we have been called to be 2 things. One, salt. And in that culture, in that Jewish culture, in that day and age, salt was what preserved their food. Salt was what allowed them to have what they needed. And it wasn't just a seasoning, it was a preserving agent. It preserved what was necessary for their daily living. And yet it seems, not judging, just observing, it seems that a lot of times we talk more about, and I'm talking to followers of Christ here, you don't expect something from people, you don't expect this from people that don't profess a faith in Jesus Christ, but for believers, I just wonder if maybe the reason the world has gotten so desperate to take away identity and create this one uniform type of culture and people, take away the beauty of how God made us and create this sterile, bland landscape. can't help but wonder if it's because the salt didn't do its job. And that sobers me personally. So my prayer for myself is, Lord, don't ever let me miss an opportunity to be salt and light. And may I use the resources in every measure, the resource of this voice, the resources of my finances, the resources of my life. May I use the resources of my life to extend in greater measure the creator and giver of my life than I use it for anything else. So may the larger portion of my words that you hear me talk about be Jesus. May the things that my money goes to, may the larger aspect of them be to do the work of the kingdom. May my conversation with you, if we ever got the opportunity to sit down and have lunch together, may I be more apt to share with you the ways Jesus has preserved me than offering you my next best idea. I can't help but wonder if the salt and the light had done its job, if we'd be kind of in the day and place we are now. You know, at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says this. He says, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, not reads them and thinks, those are really good ideas. No, reads them and puts them into practice in their life. It says, for those people, then when the storm blows through, they'll still be standing. I don't know about you, but I pray that when my life is over, that the fact that I was able to still be standing after my storm was a testament to the Jesus I had anchored to, and that I was salt to others so that they could anchor to him as well. Just a thought from my kitchen today on a little salt and light over some cashew butter cookies.